Genghis Khan. And this is where things start getting intense, because Genghis Khan wasn't just a conqueror, he was a force of nature. He came from nothing, rising out of the harsh Mongol steppes where survival alone was a battle. Tribes were divided, constantly fighting each other, yet somehow he brought them together under a single brutal vision. That alone changed history. But it didn't stop there. His armies moved like a storm, fast, calculated, unstoppable. Cities didn't just fall, they were erased. Fear wasn't a side effect of his strategy. It was the strategy, and it worked. He built the largest continuous land empire the world has ever seen. At the same time, inside his empire, things looked completely different. Trade routes opened, especially along the Silk Road, connecting cultures like never before. Laws were enforced, order existed. People under his rule often saw fairness. So how do you judge someone like that? A man who brought stability and progress, but left millions dead in the process. Even today, military minds study his tactics. But the real question is, was he a visionary or just destruction on horseback? Ned Kelly. But wait, this next story flips everything because Ned Kelly wasn't a king or general. He was an outlaw, and somehow that made him a legend. Growing up in colonial Australia, the system wasn't exactly fair, especially for poor families. Kelly saw that firsthand. So instead of playing by the rules, he went against them. He robbed banks, took on the police, and became the most wanted man in the country. But here's where it gets strange. People didn't just fear him, they supported him. To many, he wasn't a criminal. He was resistant, a man standing up to a broken system, almost like a real-life Robin Hood. And then there's the armor, the sound of bullets rebounding from his homemade metal plates during his final battle exists as an actual event. The first side of the situation needs attention because we must examine both sides. He exhibited aggressive behavior. His actions caused the deaths of multiple individuals. The law finally apprehended him, and he received execution as his punishment. His story continued to exist after his death. So what do you think? Freedom fighter, or just a criminal with a good story? Vlad the Impaler, and here's where it turns straight up dark. Because Vlad the Impaler didn't just rule, he terrified an entire era. As the ruler of Wallachia, he believed fear was the only language enemies truly understood, and he proved it in the most brutal way imaginable. His signature method? Impalement. Thousands of enemies, criminals, and even traitors were left on stakes as warnings and not hidden, displayed, a message no one could ignore. But here's the thing, this wasn't just cruelty for the sake of it. Vlad was surrounded by powerful enemies, especially the Ottoman Empire. And instead of playing defense, he turned fear into a weapon. Invaders didn't just face an army, they faced terror before the battle even began. Inside his land, strict order existed. Crime was almost non-existent. So what do you call a man like this? Outside his borders, he became a monster, even inspiring the Dracula legend. But at home, many saw him as a protector who did whatever it took to defend his people. Fear wasn't just punishment, it was control, and it worked. Oda Nobunaga. Now this next one feels like watching a country get rebuilt, but at a brutal cost. Oda Nobunaga wasn't just fighting a war, he was reshaping Japan itself. At a time when the country was torn apart by constant conflict, Nobunaga stepped in and started unifying it piece by piece, but he didn't do it gently. This is the part that hits hard. He burned entire temples, wiped out rivals, and crushed opposition without hesitation. Mercy wasn't part of the plan, victory was. Yet at the same time, he was thinking ahead of everyone else. He embraced firearms when others resisted change, he opened trade, he welcomed foreign ideas, even Christianity, into Japan. So you've got this strange contradiction. Destruction on one side, progress on the other. He ended chaos, but through even greater violence. And because of that, Japan's future changed forever. It makes you wonder, can someone be called a visionary if their path is built on fire? Blackbeard. But now we leave the battlefield and step into pure chaos on the open sea. Blackbeard wasn't just a pirate. He was a walking nightmare. This man turned fear into theater. Literally, he would light slow-burning fuses in his beard during battle, surrounding himself in smoke like something out of a nightmare. Ships didn't just surrender, they panicked. And that was the point, psychological warfare. He didn't always need to fight fear, it did the job for him. He commanded a powerful crew, took what he wanted, and controlled the seas for a time. Gold, goods, ships. It was all fair game. But here's the strange part. He wasn't always ruthless. Sometimes he let prisoners live. And that small detail changed how people saw him. To some sailors, he wasn't a villain. He was freedom. No rules, no empire, just survival. Still, the British Navy saw him as a threat that had to end. And when he finally fell, his legend only grew louder. Grigory Rasputin. This particular moment gives me a feeling of absolute unrealness. The life of Grigory Rasputin started as a common peasant, yet he managed to reach the highest levels of political power. He remained there permanently. He developed a strong bond with the Russian royal family, particularly with the Tsarina, who thought he possessed the ability to cure her sick son. Yet he achieved that impossible task through mysterious means. The method used to explain the situation remained undecided, since people assumed it stemmed from either faith, hypnosis, or an unknown factor. The situation turns complicated from this point forward. Rasputin possessed healing abilities, which he used to shape political choices. The process included making political decisions and selecting government officials. The new source of authority began to flow through him, which resulted in creating anxiety among witnesses. The general public considered him a saintly figure, while the noble class viewed him as a perilous impostor who manipulated affairs from his concealed position. The stories emerge with their description of poison that failed to function, bullets that couldn't kill him, and a man who refused to pass away easily. They ultimately achieved their objective of killing him. One of history's most spectacular murders took place through his assassination. Did he serve as a healer, or did he serve as a symbol of corruption who concealed his true nature behind religious beliefs? Hernán Cortés. And just when you think you've seen it all, this next story rewrites entire civilizations. Hernán Cortés wasn't just exploring, he was conquering. When he arrived in the Americas, he faced the powerful Aztec Empire, and somehow against all odds he brought it down. But here's how he did it, and it wasn't clean. Cortés was a brilliant strategist, no doubt. He used alliances with local tribes who already hated the Aztecs. He manipulated situations, played both sides, and turned small advantages into total domination. And the result? Spain gained massive wealth, land, and power. To them, he was a hero who expanded an empire. But flip the perspective, and it looks completely different. Entire cities destroyed, cultures erased. Disease is spreading faster than any army could. For the people who lived through it, this wasn't a victory, it was a collapse. So what do you call a man like this? A genius conqueror, or the architect of destruction? Because with Cortés, victory and tragedy walked side by side. Che Guevara. Now here's a face you've definitely seen, but probably don't fully know. Che Guevara became one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. Posters, shirts, murals, he's everywhere. But the real story behind that image? Way more complicated. He was a key figure in the Cuban Revolution, fighting against inequality and imperial control. To many, he stood for justice, rebellion, and change. A man willing to risk everything for what he believed in. But here's where it shifts. Revolution isn't clean, and Guevara wasn't soft. He enforced discipline hard, ordered executions, treated enemies with zero mercy. To his supporters, that was necessary. To his critics, it was brutality. And that's the contradiction. One man, two completely different legacies. A hero to some, a violent extremist to others. Even today, people wear his image without knowing the full story behind it. Oliver Cromwell. And now, this is where power starts to look dangerous. Oliver Cromwell didn't just fight a king, he helped bring one down. During the English Civil War, he led Parliament's forces against the monarchy and played a major role in defeating King Charles I. At first, it looked like a fight for something bigger, less royal control, more power to Parliament. And for many, that's exactly what he represented. A man pushing England toward a new kind of system. But here's where it flips. After the victory, Cromwell didn't just step back. He took control, became Lord Protector, and ruled like a dictator. Strict Puritan values shaped everything. Music and theater are banned. Life became controlled, disciplined, restricted. And then there's Ireland, where his military campaigns were brutal, leaving scars that are still remembered today. So what do you call him? A man who helped build democracy, or one who replaced a king with himself? Because with Cromwell, freedom and control came from the same hand. Oskar Schindler. And here's the twist that changes everything. Because Oskar Schindler doesn't fit the usual story at all. He started on the wrong side. A German businessman, a member of the Nazi Party. At the beginning of World War II, he wasn't trying to save lives. He was trying to profit from it. War meant opportunity, cheap labor, business growth. But something changed. Slowly, then completely. Schindler began protecting his Jewish workers, not exploiting them. He used his factories as shields, keeping them away from death camps. And to make that happen, he lied. He bribed. He manipulated the system from the inside. Over time, it stopped being business and became survival. Not for him, for them. More than 1,000 lives were saved because he chose to act. And every step of the way, he was risking everything. If he got caught, that was it. By the end of the war, he had spent his entire fortune just to keep those people alive. So how do you define a man like that? A former opportunist who became a savior inside one of history's darkest systems. Proof that sometimes the real hero isn't perfect, just someone who decides to change.